Hello. um, so, you know the drill. I'm called to do these. I don't really prepare for them. Sometimes God just puts them on my mind, on my heart, and then I usually wrestle with it for like a day or two and try to like get it out. And not wrestle with it, but like, I'm like, okay, can you, clarity and discernment, clarity and discernment. I need clarity and discernment. And then once it gets to the point where, because I'm an overthinker, he's like, girl, do this right now. So here we are again. Hello. I think the last video that I posted, I was trying to like talk about like who or what is God, and just me going back on this journey of rediscovering like religion. I grew up Christian based. I know I talked about that like I don't even know how many videos ago, but I've studied a bunch of different religions. I've been involved in a bunch of different things, secular kind of like activities, if you name it. I tried it when it comes to spirituality, and I do not exaggerate. But then I've been having like a lot of dreams, and God has been speaking to me in a very clear, which I'm so grateful for, but it's been very, very clear. And the things that are unclear, I still get directions and instructions on which way to move. I say that to say that, like, it has nothing to do with religion. Especially, like, the last couple of days. Just, like, revisiting Bible stories, rereading my Bible, kind of, like, getting back in touch with my personal relationship with God. And I really think that that is all this has ever been about. Like, it's, at least for now, I can't even say for now because I've seen, I've had the instruction for what that looks like for me, for what fellowship and worship looks like for me, and they are not the same. I mean, they are the same, obviously, because everything is the same. We've been through this, but they're not the same, and there's just so much, like, deeper diving into this relationship with God, the universe, the divine, the omnipresent. Like I call it whatever you want to call it. It's simpler for me just to say God, so that's what I'm saying. But like there, there's so much like baggage that came with that over the years, to the point where I was like, no, I'm tired. I'm not dealing with it. I need to just throw it away, let it go. And then the end of December, like right around the time that I had like started kind of like posting content, and I didn't even know where this was going, and I still kind of don't know where it's going, but I have a pretty good idea. which is so funny. It almost makes me want to cry, because it's just like I am in my faith era again, and I can't even call it an era because we've been bouncing back and forth, God and I, for quite some time. Over 3 decades. And now it's just like we're in that place where it's like, okay, I understand. I'm listening. And this time calls for such strict obedience. And if you know me, you know that like authority's not my thing. Like, I'm a control freak. I am very much like, I do what I want, I say what I want, I go where I want. Like but at the end of December, like a lot of things that I like to like partake in and, dare I say, indulge in, like I just stopped doing them. I didn't know why. I had no valid reason as to why. It didn't make any sense to me. Like, I'm not gonna say it didn't make any sense to me, but it was just like very weird. But I had no control over it. Like, as we don't have control over really anything, but there's the appearance of control and free will, you know? And so like this was not something I had control over. Like I had no control over this. That's that. I don't know another way to word that. It wasn't. It's not like it was my idea. And then when I think about like so many things that like I try to create or I try to manifest or like that, those none of those things were my idea. They felt like my idea. But then if you know, like I talk a little bit about like my journey with non-duality, radical non-duality, and the Neo-Advaita, you know, that world where a lot of what is God is referred to as awareness and like seeing and speaking, and then in the non-duality kind of like sphere, and then you have this other side, like because everything is dualism here. You have this other side of duality that's like, no, there's nothing and everything is all happening at once. There's nothing and everything, and it's all simultaneous. And in that nothing is just what is, and that what isness is the isness that is God. So, what it's different for everybody. And for my path, obviously, just like anybody else's, it's very specific and tailored to me, because when you think about like relationships in general, not even just your relationship with God, but like your relationship in general with any one person is never exactly the same as it is with anyone else. Like and I don't care if it's romantic, platonic, your relationship with your children, your relationship with your mother, whatever the case may be, it's never the same. Like, even if like my relationship that I have with my mother is nowhere near the same as what my sister or my brothers have with her. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's the same thing with God. Like, everything is so different. Like, I remember initially when I first started posting content to this channel, and I knew that this is kind of like the realm of what was going to be discussed on this channel, just an outlet for me to kind of get these things out. It's part of the reason why like I didn't show my face and everything, and probably still won't. I have no idea. But like, all of that was coming from the place of, okay, something is diving back into this. And it's not just about religion. It's not about religion at all, actually. It was about my spirituality, my faith, and my relationship with God. And then being able to speak on that in a public forum, even though, I'm not showing my face or whatever, and this is under a totally different channel that's not even attached to my real name. But like, it felt like I was exposing something so personal, and to the point where it's like, you know the story in the Bible about the Samaritan woman, and just, if you're Christian, you'll know what I'm talking about. I don't know an equivalent story in another religion that I can think of, but in that story, when Jesus at the well, and he tells, asks the Samaritan woman for some to drink, and she's like, "Do you know who I am? If you knew who I was, you would not talk to me." Like, and that's really how I felt about God. It's so strange. And then somehow, just, I won't say it feels like it was overnight, but realistically, like going back and looking at this channel and then looking back at like everything that it kind of conspired for me around the end of 2023, it's like, this really is not an overnight process, and I'm only in the beginning stages of it. There's so much that I'm sorting through just within myself and for myself, and okay, is this of you, God? Like, and there's such a clear difference. I remember I talked about like growing up Jehovah's Witness and everything, and so like there being a clear difference. Like, I could tell the difference between me and other kids, like when I was in school, and me and other people as I like grew older. Like, and I'm not just meaning outside of like what the masses would call church. Jehovah's Witnesses don't call it that, but a lot of what just kind of like outside of that group of fellowship that was created for me, and then becoming an adult, leaving God really, and then engaging in a totally different type of fellowship, to now coming back to this point where it's like, okay, I don't know what fellowship looks like, and I don't really know what worship is gonna look like. I don't know, I'm crying. But when I tell you that, like, all the instructions that are being laid out in front of me are so clear, and I am really just trying to, like, listen to that and be obedient to that and, like, follow that, because I know that, like, God is everything. He is everything. He is in everything. If, like I said, non-duality, like radical non-duality, calls it unconditional love. You hear a lot of the speakers calling it unconditional love, and that is really what God is. Like, God is really love, and endures all things, even the crappiest versions of yourself. so, so I don't know where you are in your journey. I don't even know where I am in my journey, but this is what I was called to talk about today. I don't get too deep into, like, Christianity one way or the other, because I think, for me anyway, all religions at their core are really the same. There's not this multitude of gods that people believe that they worship. There's not this, like, it's just one. There's just the one. There is not not two. It's just one. And even when we speak about, like, our relationship with God, with the isness, with the oneness, with the awareness, the universe, the divine, whatever you call it, like, that's not two. It's not separate. It's just one. And so, I don't know. I'm in this place where, like, I'm trying to hold on to this without grasping while growing in it. And it feels like I'm needing to do that quietly and in my own space, and with my, like, the the there's a rekindling and a kind of restoration that's just happening, and it's naturally happening, and I have no control over it, and I have relinquished the idea of having any control over it whatsoever, because things are moving that I just cannot explain. And so if you're in this place, or you are, you feel like that this is also the kind of direction that you're going in, or the place that you've been called to, just know, honey, you're not by yourself. We are literally all in this together. It's so crazy to say that, because we're not separate. Like, God is all things. And I don't know how to end this, so I'm going to end this here. I never make videos that are this long. I certainly do not need to be crying on the internet, but yeah, I don't know. I was sitting here and I was wanting to do some other stuff, and I just heard, no, this first. So, this first. Have a good day and enjoy your life. Take care of yourself.